Welcome, everyone, to our session about technology and agriculture. You'll hear from Karis and I today, but also we have some pretty fun video clips embedded into this presentation for you guys. Because why listen to us when you can listen and watch a video that has really fun music? So let's jump right on into it. Welcome to our session. All right. I don't know how I follow up the jazzy music. I feel like I need to walk on stage music now, Karis.
I know.
I'm Libby Fritz, Vice President with Agrinovus Indiana. Agrinovus we'll dive into a little bit later, but we are a nonprofit in the state that is working to build the ag bioscience economy. A little bit about myself, because I think you'll discover that no one takes a straight path to their career. I say that and then I'm pretty much going to take a straight path. But I am from Northwest Indiana. I grew up on a farm that grew corn, soybeans, and popcorn. I am a daughter of a farmer who is my dad and a journalist who is my mom. So naturally, I went to Purdue University and studied agricultural communications with a side of ag econ. From there, I always knew that I wanted to work in agriculture, but I knew that I did not want to share the agriculture story with the ag industry. Ag industry does a fantastic job of talking to ourselves, and I wanted to talk to others. And so that is my career path. It has taken me to state government. It has taken me to the Indiana State Fair. And now it has taken me to Agrinovus. Here at Agrinovus, what I work on my daily life is finance and operations. It's a good thing that economics degree came in handy eventually. Project management and events and sponsorship. So events can be anywhere from a very nice 20-person meeting to 1,000-person event. So that is my career path and how I got here. Karis, let's hear from you.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karis Woody. I'm the Career Success Manager at Agrinovus Indiana. I did not take a linear path. I have no background in agriculture. I didn't really see myself finding a career in this space, but here I am today, and I'm excited to share why I'm so passionate about agriculture now. But a little bit of background on myself. I grew up in Greenfield, right outside of Indianapolis, and went to Mount Vernon High School, and then pursued my bachelor's degree in business communications at Purdue University. Leading up to graduation, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do career-wise, but I knew that I wanted to work in an industry or find a career that really allowed me to kind of have an impact on the world and the lives of others. I ultimately started my first career out of school as an IT recruiter for a company called Tech Systems, and it was such a good professional development experience. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to start out in that role, but I still found myself yearning for a position in an industry I was passionate about, and an industry, like I said, that allowed me to have a larger impact on the world. So started digging around, looking into open opportunities at the time, and it took one conversation with Libby and the Agrinovus team to discover that agriculture was the place for me. regardless of my not having a background in agriculture, I quickly recognized that no matter what your skills or interests are or your background, there is a place for you here. So that's why I'm so happy to be here today. And I'm so excited to share resources for you all that might come from a similar place as me, who don't know much about agriculture, but are interested. So I will, or I guess, yeah, that's how I found my role as the career success manager. And in this position, I really focus on connecting education and industry, attracting students and young professionals to careers in this space, and then working with our on-campus ambassadors to promote the Field Atlas platform and Field Atlas programs. But now I'll send it back to Libby.
Karis, I love your background. I have hired a few people over my career, and my favorite thing is to hire those that did not grow up in ag, but through conversations and through discovery and through learning, you found your way. And in all honesty, in a lot of cases, you do a better job of selling the ag bioscience industry better than me, because it's innate and it grew up, and the language is just, I say things and you look at me and go, Libby, I have no clue what you said or what you mean. And so in so many ways, I think you are a better champion than I am at times.
I don't know about that, but yeah, it's a fun space to be in, regardless of how you end up here.
So we're throwing around a word that is ag bioscience. In the video, we did a great job of adding ag plus bio plus science. You guys could be sitting there and staring at us and going, never heard that word before. And you would be true. It would be accurate, because we slightly made up the word. Still working on getting it added to Merriam-Webster, so it is an actual definition word. So when we were looking at Indiana and we were trying to say, what is the innovation or the tech-backed part of agriculture? It kind of came out that Indiana had 5 really strong areas in this larger agriculture industry: animal health and nutrition, plant science and crop protection, human food and nutrition, ag tech, and of course, production agriculture. And so when we were at the very beginning working on figuring out how to sell this, how do we define our area, the very first thing is that we created the word ag bioscience. There is purpose behind that, in the fact that agriculture is a huge tent. It can be everything from production agriculture to organic farming to farmers markets to food to table to crop protection. And so what we were trying to do is define and carve out an area that is innovation and tech in agriculture. So that is why we call it the ag bioscience industry. We are really kind of concentrating on those future advancements, research, innovation, technology. And so that is the backing to what we do. We did, because, my goal, Karis, is to get us into Merriam-Webster. It's been my goal for about, I'm not going to say how many years, because then I would not be meeting my goal. But we did define it. It is the place where food, agriculture, science, and technology converge. So when you're hearing this ag bioscience word, know that that is kind of the area within the larger agriculture tent that we are talking about. Like any good research-backed entity, we have the numbers that support that we are impactful to the state. We are a $69.6 billion economy impact for the state of Indiana. That's huge. Just think, if this sector of the economy were to leave Indiana, we'd have a $70 billion hole in all of our work. We employ close to 150,000 people. Since 2020, we've added 3,000 jobs, which means that we are an industry that is moving up. We, like everyone, can have a hard time with, economy or numbers, but innovations, excitement, and funding are still going into this area. And then, like all good conversations to have when you're thinking about your future, it's a career that you can make a living off of. You can do good and earn money, so it's kind of a good mix there, Karis, don't you think? About AgriNovus, so AgriNovus is a statewide nonprofit initiative that our goal is to grow the Indiana's ag bioscience economy. We do that through 3 focus areas: business growth. So we are concentrating on growing companies that are already here, and we're also looking at companies outside of Indiana in other parts of the world that say, hey, you want to be close to your customers? There's no better place than Indiana, so come here. We also work on startup acceleration, which is a really fun place where student-led teams of entrepreneurs, college, high school, young professionals, and even established companies, we issue 3 large challenges at the beginning of the year. 1 in on-farm innovation, 1 in food and is health, and then 1 in bioinnovation. And we give out $25,000 after they submit their solutions. So in each track, $75,000 in total, in case anyone was curious about math. And then we also do thought leadership. So from that first slide where I said, hey, we created a word, we were working on an initiative, thought leadership lives there. And that is where this conversation is going to live today, because we have a talent awareness program called Field Atlas. And Field Atlas is in that thought leadership, which Karis leads. So we're going to discover and learn a little bit more about Field Atlas. Sound like fun, Karis?
So much fun. I can't wait.
I love your collection of photos here. It really says. For those curious, we do all of this with a team of 7 full-time employees. So you're getting a large percentage of us here with you today, and we're super excited. So why are we here? I think I want to issue a challenge to, as you guys are discovering your paths, where you're going, what you want to do, listen to your interests. I think that so many, because not a lot of us grow up on farms anymore, we're not innately connected to that day in and day out work, and you can overlook agriculture. And what my goal and hope for you at the end of our 30 minutes with you today is to realize that agriculture is a place for you to be. It can be urban, it can be rural, it can be technology, computer, innovation-based. Whatever your interests are, whether it is computer science, engineering, biology, chemistry, law, marketing, continue down, because you should follow your passions. I just want you at the end of this to realize that you can work in agriculture, that there is a place for you here, and that we would welcome you arms wide open. So Karis, I'm gonna send it over to you.
Perfect. Awesome. So obviously, Libby and I both have mentioned Field Atlas multiple times as well. And to put it into more concise terms, Field Atlas is an AgriNovus program really focused on bridging the gap between students and young professionals like yourself and the opportunities that exist in this space. So as the Field Atlas program has grown, it's become full of quite a few layers, which is exciting as we've expanded. But to kind of talk through those layers, one layer of the Field Atlas program is the Field Atlas online career exploration platform, which is a place for students and young professionals like yourself to actually connect your skills and interests to the degrees and careers that exist in ag bioscience. And we'll actually spend the remainder of this presentation giving you all a chance to actually discover the Field Atlas platform and the resources that exist. Another layer of the Field Atlas program is our Field Atlas ambassadors, which are college students on different campuses around the state of Indiana who really serve as that peer-to-peer connection between the ag biosciences and students who might be interested in this space but don't necessarily know how they fit in. And then the third layer of the Field Atlas program is actual in-person hands-on experiences that allow students to connect where they fit into this industry from a career perspective as well. So a few of these actual experiences include our Ag Bioscience Mentorship Program, which is an opportunity for early professionals to actually get connected one-on-one with an industry leader that can provide guidance as they navigate their career journey. And then we also host Ag Bioscience company tours, which are a day and a half immersion for students to actually immerse themselves in this industry firsthand and kind of network with industry professionals and established leaders in this space, and then also actually tour companies in ag bioscience in the state of Indiana. So like I mentioned, the goal of all Field Atlas programming is to really bridge that gap between you and the opportunities here, because it can be hard to see how your skills and interests connect with an actual career down the line. So our role is to make that a little bit more seamless and easier for you. Next slide, Libby. Rather than talking at you about it, I'm going to have you listen to a quick clip from one of our current Field Atlas ambassadors, Rylan Puckett, who is a chemistry major at Ball State University. And prior to engaging with Field Atlas and discovering our resources, Rylan did not have much knowledge on the agriculture industry now. And now she has actually decided to pursue a career in this space. So I'm excited for you to hear a little bit from her, and hopefully you'll have a similar experience after today.
How are you thinking about career, and how are you thinking about the experiences here in your final 2 years at Ball State?
So initially starting off, believe it or not, Field Atlas was the first time of me ever even putting myself out there for an entity outside of Ball State. So even getting involved in that, I know I want to continue to do our science fairs. Ball State also has another research program branch called LSAM.
Okay.
That is something I'm looking forward to as, a chemistry student. And career-wise, this may sound so ironic, but since being an ambassador, from time to time, I find myself going to our career exploration resource. And since then, I literally have found what I want to focus on, which is being a formulation scientist. And I ended up finding that on our website, ironically.
Oh, that's incredible. Riley?
I love it.
Awesome. So although Rylan ultimately ended up on kind of a degree and career path in chemistry, the Field Atlas resources are going to be really applicable to you all that are interested in computer science and technology as well. So I want to give you all a chance to actually explore for yourself. For those of you who have either your mobile device handy or your laptop, I encourage you to visit myfieldatlas.com. And you can follow along with this conversation. If you don't have your own personal device handy, you can also just listen and follow along as well. But I encourage you later today to actually go and do some exploring on your own. And then perfect. So for those of you who made it to the Field Atlas platform, you should see a page that looks similar to this. It's just the home page. But to preface our journey that we're about to begin, the Field Atlas site really walks you through kind of a Field Atlas journey. So all you need to be prepared with right now is just thinking about your skills and what you're interested in. And the Field Atlas platform will kind of do the rest for you. It'll connect you to actual careers that are going to be relevant to you, specifically within computer science, just based on those skills and careers. So for those of you that are on your personal devices, I encourage you to click that blue button and discover your career match through the quiz. It's just about a 2 to 3 minute quiz. It'll ask you about those skills and interests, and then it'll actually populate roles based on those skills and interests. For the sake of time, I'm going to continue moving on, but feel free to listen and to take the quiz at the same time. But I want to make sure I share the other resources on Field Atlas that are going to be beneficial for you all later on as well. So the first space is the degree pathways page. So for those of you who are interested in pursuing post-secondary education, or even for those of you who aren't sure if that's the route you want to take, this page might be really beneficial for you. So for those of you who are following along, in the top left corner of your screen, you'll see 3 lines. From there, you can click I am in high school and then degrees, and it'll bring you to this page. And on the degrees pathways page, you can actually filter down specific degrees based on different areas of study that you can find in ag bioscience. So I encourage you all to filter down these areas specifically to the computer science degrees, which you can see on the left pane. And there's quite a few different degree paths you can find in computer science that'll lead you to a career in ag bioscience. So I encourage you to look through some of those computer science degrees. If you find one you're interested in and you click on it, it'll show you some of the courses you might have to take to obtain this degree, what this degree specifically focuses on. And then at the bottom, it'll actually show you different colleges and universities that offer this type of degree within the state of Indiana, which is a cool feature. So definitely encourage you to take some time looking through that as well. But for those of you who are on your own devices, would you mind clicking, Libby? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Here's a few examples of some of those degrees. So there's web development, technology, cybersecurity, data science, information science, etc. And all of these different degrees allow students the opportunity to kind of focus on that innovation within the ag bioscience space. But moving on, obviously now that you've picked a degree and narrowed down your focus to those different degrees that are relevant to you, you have to think about how that degree is going to lead you to an actual career in this space. So we're going to kind of pivot our mind now to the actual careers that exist. And so I'm going to show a clip of Rylan, who utilized Field Atlas. She already was studying chemistry at Ball State, and she utilized Field Atlas to actually narrow down what career she wanted to obtain given her degree in chemistry. So I'll let you listen to her.
Give folks a recount of this bet that you took. You're a chemistry major. You're at Ball State. You're like, these ag people are asking me to do something. You end up on a career tour. Walk us through this.
Okay, so really finding out about Field Atlas and the science tours, it was through a research program at Ball State. And initially looking at it, I had never even heard of Field Atlas AgriNovus. I had no idea. And we've heard of the misconceptions around AgriNovus and Field Atlas. So actually getting in and going on the tour, that was my first time ever seeing chemistry applied in ways that Ball State was not talking about. Or that was also my first time ever vividly seeing myself in an actual chemistry career. Visiting, I think it was, they were showing us the big chemical herbicides and the actual chemicals they use. Instantly, I had so many questions, and it just ignited this bigger spark of, I don't just want to be a chemistry major. I want to go deeper. I want to go specifics, and in a way that's also impactful.
So similar to Rylan's experience with chemistry and not necessarily seeing how a chemist might play a part in ag bioscience, I talked to a lot of college students pursuing degrees in computer science who kind of feel the same way. They're aware of some of those opportunities that exist out there, specifically just in the tech industry, but they don't recognize that we need engineers and computer scientists and whatnot to continue innovating in agriculture as well. So that's why we are going to spend some time also looking through those actual careers that exist for you all as well. So the careers page functions very similarly to the degrees page. If you're curious and following along, you can go to those 3 lines again, click on those and click I am in high school, and then you'll find careers as well. And from there, you can filter on the left pane based on different areas of interest. So for all of you, you can filter those specific careers down to computer science, and you'll see that just on the Field Atlas site, there's over 27 specific careers in computer science that you can find in ag bioscience, which is so exciting for you all because that's a lot of opportunities out there. Like Libby mentioned earlier, since 2020, over 3,000 plus new jobs have been committed to the state of Indiana in ag bioscience. And that just goes to show how much opportunity there is. Those are 3,000 jobs that have never existed before that are now going to exist in this industry. And I'd be willing to bet that a lot of those jobs are in the computer science field as well. So if you find a role in computer science that you're interested in, if you click on it, it'll show you the average salary for that type of position, what a day in the life might look like for somebody pursuing that career. And then it'll also show you actual companies in the state of Indiana that hire for that type of professional, which makes your job search a little bit easier. But yeah, for the sake of time, we'll continue moving on. For those of you who don't have your own device, this pulled up on your own device, we have a slide with some examples of those careers as well. So some of those careers that you'll see are security analysts, AI and machine learning engineers, web designers, programmers, etc. Like I said, there's a lot of opportunity for you all interested in computer science. But although I wish we had more time to walk through every single one of those careers, I do want to leave you with a final message from one of our other Field Atlas ambassadors, Cameron Weber, who was probably in a similar boat to you all. Cameron did not recognize how they might play a role in the ag bioscience industry. They don't come from an ag background either. And so their message is really great as you all continue exploring this industry too.
And I was, 3 years old. My parents got me like a little plastic doctor kit, and I'd carry it around everywhere, and I was like, this is how I'm going to make a difference. And I think a message that I really want to drive home for college students is that it is okay to change your mind, and it is okay to find a new path as long as you're continuously forging your way forward. And so I kind of, I came in as a biomathematician. I was going to use bioinformatics to really make a difference in medicine. And then I kind of realized, hey, maybe being on a computer all day isn't what I want. So I decided to change to biology, and then fell in love with plants, fell in love with working with insects, fell in love with, microbiology and how do we use fertilizers to create a difference in crops. And so, kind of just found my way into the agriculture sector, but I couldn't be happier to be here.
And then last thing for today, before we get to any questions you all might have, we really encourage you to stay up to date with us. So we have multiple opportunities for you all to continue learning more about ag bioscience and exploring those Field Atlas programs. For those of you who are planning on attending college or university, like I mentioned earlier, we host ag bioscience company tours every summer, which could be a great opportunity for you to firsthand learn about what life is like in this industry. I also mentioned our Field Atlas ambassadors, who are those college students on different campuses around the state of Indiana. Every semester, we hire Field Atlas ambassadors for this paid internship. So for those of you thinking about going to college or university, I encourage you to become an ambassador on your campus and help us share this ag bioscience story. Or for those of you just genuinely interested in learning about some of their degree pathways, all of their email information is on the Field Atlas site, and they are always happy to help bridge that gap between you and the careers and degrees in this space. So utilize them, reach out to them. And then lastly, one of the best ways to learn about the innovation happening in this industry is through Ag Bioscience, which is our podcast. It's actually the #1 ag tech podcast in the world, which is exciting. And it's hosted by our CEO, Mitch Frazier. But not coming from an ag background, this has been such a good way for me to continue learning about this industry and keeping up to date with everything that is happening. So I definitely encourage you all to stay in touch. Me and Lydia are always open if you ever want to reach out to us as well. But lastly, feel free to ask any questions in the Q&A chat.
Oh, wow. Such a great question. In case anyone cannot see it, how do you think tech and agriculture has helped society? There's lots of ways to tackle this question. But one of the most concise ways, as we're tight on time, is there is less than 2% of the population that grows all of the food for the world. Think about that. And so you are doing it on a smaller amount of land. You are doing it at a higher mass quantity. You cannot do that without technology or innovation in plant science. Technology right now is the largest manufacturer. I think they sell green and yellow tractors, is John Deere. John Deere now has in place where a tractor can be 100% robotic. And so you don't even have to sit in the seat. If you guys know your ride-along lawnmowers, someone at least has to be in the seat to activate that weight. Not even a requirement on these tractors anymore. I think as we have advanced in the 1980s and 1990s, chemistry became a way to get more yield for row crops specifically. Fast forward to the 2020s, and that's not the practice. We need to be a little bit more precise on where we're using our chemistry in the field, so there is not runoff and it does not affect our groundwater. And so now there are robotic sprays that are just going up and down the rows of corn or row crops, and they only spray, like, the data within those robots can identify a weed or they can identify a disease on the leaf, and they can apply chemistry to that one spot instead of blanketing the entire field. Think about that. Think of the health of the planet and the advancements that are happening in that. In animal health, you have Elanco, who's here in Indiana, has spent considerable amount of time of how do we change the diet of cows so the methane gas that they release is less. That is all happening through technology and science. So agriculture would not exist without technology today.
Perfect. I think our time is up.
Karis, you did a great job.
You did too. Thank you all for taking the time today. I'm sure there's a lot of cool sessions, but thank you for choosing to spend the last half an hour with us and learning about tech and agriculture. Like I said, don't hesitate to ever reach out to me and Libby and utilize the Field Atlas resources moving forward.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great day.